exposing the secrets behind the world's most famous oops, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. This iconic monument, with its unmistakable tilt, has captured the imagination of millions for centuries. But have you ever wondered how it got that way? And more importantly, how it's still standing today? Let's dive into the fascinating story of how a near disaster became a symbol of human ingenuity and engineering brilliance. I'll show you how a wobbly mistake became an engineering triumph. The Leaning Tower wasn't supposed to lean at all. When construction began in 1173, the plan was for a perfectly vertical bell tower to accompany Pisa's cathedral. But as the builders reached the third floor, the soft, clay-rich soil beneath the tower began to give way, causing the structure to tilt. Instead of scrapping the project, the people of Pisa decided to keep building, hoping the problem would somehow fix itself. Spoiler, it didn't. And yes, it still leans, but now on purpose. Over the centuries, the tilt became the tower's claim to fame, drawing curious visitors from all over the world. But as the years passed, the lean grew more and more dangerous, threatening to turn this beloved landmark into a pile of rubble. Okay, picture this. It's the 1990s, and the Leaning Tower of Pisa is tilting so much, people are worried it's about to become the falling Tower of Pisa. The situation was so dire that authorities had to close the tower to the public in 1990, fearing it could collapse at any moment. Engineers and scientists from around the globe were called in to brainstorm solutions, and the world watched anxiously as Pisa's most famous landmark teetered on the brink. The tilt had reached 5.5 degrees. Yikes. To put that in perspective, that's enough to make you feel dizzy just looking at it. The top of the tower was over 4 meters off center, and the risk of collapse was very real. The challenge? Save the tower without destroying its unique character. So, what did engineers do? Did they just push it back straight? Not quite. The solution had to be gentle, precise, and above all, safe for the fragile, centuries-old structure. Teams of experts debated, tested, and sometimes argued over the best way to save the tower. First, they tried some quick fixes. The initial goal was to stop the tower from leaning any further while they figured out a permanent solution. This meant stabilizing the ground and the structure itself, buying precious time for more research and planning. They slapped 600 tons of lead weights on the north side to keep it from tipping further. These massive weights acted like a counterbalance, pulling the tower back ever so slightly and preventing it from leaning more. It was a temporary fix, but it worked, at least for a while. Imagine putting a giant paperweight on your wobbly desk. It's a simple idea, but when you're dealing with a 14,000-ton marble tower, nothing is ever truly simple. The weights had to be carefully placed and monitored to avoid causing more damage. It helped a bit, but wasn't a long-term solution. The tower was still in danger, and everyone knew they needed something more effective and more permanent. They also tried some wilder ideas, like sucking water out of the ground and even zapping the soil with electricity. The hope was that by drying out the soil or changing its properties, they could stabilize the foundation. But these experiments were risky, and in some cases, they made the problem worse. Spoiler alert, didn't work. One idea even made the tower lean more. The winning move? Under excavation. This was a bold and innovative technique that had never been tried on such a large scale before. The idea was to remove small amounts of soil from underneath the higher side of the tower, allowing it to settle back ever so slightly. That's a fancy way to say they carefully scooped out little bits of soil from under the higher side of the tower. It was a delicate operation, requiring extreme precision and constant monitoring. Too much soil removed, and the tower could topple. Too little, and nothing would change. Bit by bit, the tower gently eased back, like letting the air out of one tire to balance a car. The process was slow and nerve-wracking, but it worked. The tower's tilt gradually decreased, and for the first time in centuries, it was actually getting safer. It took months of slow work, constant measuring, and nerves of steel. Engineers used lasers, sensors, and old-fashioned tape measures to track every tiny movement. The world held its breath as the tower inched back to a safer angle, all thanks to a combination of ancient wisdom and modern technology. In the end, they nudged the tilt back about half a degree, making it much safer, but left it leaning because, let's face it, that's the whole brand. Today, the Leaning Tower of Pisa stands as a testament to the power of creative problem-solving. It's a reminder that sometimes our biggest mistakes can become our greatest achievements if we're willing to think outside the box. Thanks to clever engineering, Pisa's most famous mistake is still standing tall. Well, sorta. The next time you see a photo of the Leaning Tower, remember the decades of hard work, the wild experiments, and the clay magic that saved it from disaster. It's not just a quirky tourist attraction. It's a monument to human determination, creativity, and the belief that even the most crooked problems can be set right, one careful scoop at a time.